Hello. We're back. Boom, 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 boom. We're back and we have some guests. If you're seeing,
Oh,
we have some guests.
little smoochy. We have little furry friends with us
Furry
today.
friends, literally just like
Kona's just like asleep. She's so perfect.
this.
I took her to the art store this morning, which by the way, great start to a Friday. I went to the art store and Paper Source to get little name cards for
Wait,
the
cute.
calligraphy project. At the art store, nobody realized she was in the bag. And they're like, oh my gosh. And then when I went to pay, the total came out to 888. So angel numbers.
Angel numbers. Wait, I keep seeing so many angel numbers. I keep seeing 444.
Three.
333 has
Yeah.
been crazy for me. Like I see it.
3 has been popping off.
I'm like, I don't know what timeline I'm in. I don't know what's happening,
No,
but
same.
like this is wild.
No, literally. And so I was like, that made my Friday. And then I went on a walk and then came back.
Oh my God, you've done so much. I literally woke up late. I was so out of it. I've been dizzy all morning, so I was not doing things. Yeah, and then just organizing. So that's pretty much what I've been doing all morning. Anywho, okay, so let's talk about this week. What's happening with work?
Okay, honestly, this week I've been really focused. I've been teaching myself more stuff about AI.
Ooh, which has been on your list.
Yeah, which has been like interesting. And honestly, I've been focused more on reaching out because I am helping my mom plan an event next week.
Hmm.
Just reaching out to other realtors, kind of getting familiar with just like different platforms for lead generation that I've been learning
Hmm.
through my friend Lindsay. So I've been more real estate focused. I've been studying. I feel a lot better, but I for sure think that I need a lot more studying. I
Okay.
grasp the overall concepts. I just think that test taking is just not my strong suit. So
Yes,
I
you
just
want to
really
make
like
sure.
repetition. And then on the other side, just been having calls with like different founders. I had some in-person meetings, which was nice. I actually have one later
Love.
today. I thought my Friday was going to be super chill. And then I looked at my calendar and I was like, I actually have back-to-back calls and then an in-person meeting. So
Oh, my afternoons on Fridays are always a little crazy. I have back-to-back calls.
yeah, no, I never have like calls back to back on Fridays, but it's been kind of that. I feel like I've been very much focused on just like strategy building, more so for brands, and then also for the events coming up for Tech Week.
Yeah, you have a lot of events coming up for Tech Week.
So I think it's been more so on that front and just studying.
Yeah, oh, that's great. That's great. My week actually was pretty chill in comparison now that I wrapped up a client last Friday. It's been a lot more chill and I think I like feel guilty about it. And I think as founders it's hard sometimes to be chill because we feel
Yeah.
like we always need to be on. And it was kind of nice just to give myself this week of like I
Oh yeah.
obviously was still working, still doing plenty of things, still doing in-person meetings, but it just wasn't as crazy.
Mhm.
And sometimes that feels like I'm not being as productive, but I think we kind of need those moments where we're not
100%.
going,
Yeah.
crazy. And so I'm kind of happy that I had that chance to just take this, especially because I know I'm going to be back in New York next week. And I literally have something, I know, I'm so excited. And I literally have something like every day.
No, it's
So it's going
I
to be
feel like
crazy.
that's something we need to talk about more, just giving yourself grace. As founders, feel we always are trying to do different things. And I feel when everybody's on their own journey, everybody thinks that, like, okay, I have a million things on the agenda, I can never stop. And sometimes it's good to take time to just step away and like
Yeah,
have a morning. Like, I did
totally.
that yesterday. I went to the gym early and then I went on a walk and I am grateful and blessed that I could move things around, right? But
Mhm.
at the same time, I was like, I just need a slower morning to just be for me and things that like make me feel good to fuel my creativity and stuff. So then when I get into doing stuff for work, it's a lot easier,
Yeah, I
and I feel recharged.
Yeah, I could not agree more. So I feel better this week. Every Friday for the last few months, I have been drained. Like I haven't done
Mm.
anything Friday. Work until like 7, 7:30, and then I pass out because I'm like, okay, I need to stop and, just call it a night. And I then pass out because I'm so exhausted from the week. I finally don't feel that way. And this is where I just need to give myself a second and then I'll go back to it and,
Yeah,
grind again. And it's not to say that we don't grind, but I think it is that balance of how do you grind while still taking care of yourself?
100%.
So I'm really happy that I was able to take that this week. Not to say we haven't been working. I mean, it's funny, Sarania had a big deadline to submit certain papers to get published for her PhD, which will then allow her to graduate. But we heard back from the Apple Store last week.
Which
And
is insane.
so we've been like hustling to get all these things done. They told us, hey, you just need to fix XYZ. I didn't realize how tough it was going to be to get into the App Store. I think people, and I had this conversation with someone last night, and it was like, oh, so it's a big deal to get on the App Store. I was like, absolutely. It's not an easy process, much less now that there are so many apps being created because they're all being vibe coded. So the App Store is inundated with submissions, and a lot of it they're tagging as spam or, just vibe coded and not really a real legit app. And so one, there's like a badge of honor to be on the App Store, but two, there's a much longer process. So what I'm dealing with now is this in between where we're making sure, okay, we finally heard back from the App Store after 5 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks after we had submitted, which is crazy because when you ask, Apple will be like, oh, it takes us 24 to 48 hours to approve it. Yeah, no, that's not the case. Yeah, that is very incorrect. It took us a month to get on test flight and then 5 to 6 weeks to get onto we're not even on the App Store yet, but just to get a response. Yeah. So it's crazy. And then it's like, oh, hey, we finally get attention from someone. They're like, you need to fix XYZ. Oh, and also in that time, we had been emailing anyone that even remotely had an Apple email. We were like, hello, pay attention to us. Hello, can you help us out? It's not for lack of trying. And so we finally got a response. They told us, hey, looked good. You just have to fix XYZ. So Sarani has been working on that while simultaneously trying to finish her PhD. So there's just been a lot happening. And then also in parallel, I've been working with our partners, and it's hard to continue working with our partners when we don't know what the timing is. We're trying to plan our calendar with them, but it's hard when we're not even fully launched. So we're just in very much planning mode where it's, okay, we're moving, we're shifting. Okay, are we going to go live? Okay, hold on. No, let's replan, reshift. Okay, we're going to go live. And so that's what's been the past, I would say, 2 weeks. And this week, definitely a little bit, we feel closer. And I think Sarania said she was going to submit everything tomorrow because it's all these little things where it's not only, okay, submit your stuff to the App Store, then wait to get a response, then fix the things that they tell you to fix. But then now it's, okay, you have to not fully resubmit, but you have to then make videos to show them that everything works the way that they want. So we made another account for them to go on the app and try it themselves on test flight. And then Sarania has to make videos on different devices. So she has to make a video on what it looks like on an iPhone Pro, then what it looks like on an iPhone Max, then what it looks like on a tablet, and then what it looks like on desktop.
That's insane.
Right.
So you essentially have to have access to all these devices.
You either have to have access to all those devices or be able to simulate it. So she's been simulating it. We have access to most of the devices except iPad. And because I have a really old outdated iPad, she was like, no, that doesn't work. It has to be the specific size. So she found a simulator to do it. There's just so many steps that you would never know unless you go through the process. And so I've been trying to lean on my different communities of hey, who's done this before? Who can I talk to? And I was talking to a founder a few weeks ago, and she was told me they had not heard back for a month since they had submitted. So she was like, this is normal, but once you hear back, it moves pretty quickly. So that made me feel better. But point is, it is a pain to get onto the App Store. And I'm just happy. It seems like we're almost done with the process. And I'm going to cry tears of joy when we are finally on the App Store. So that's been my week. That was a very long answer.
But I feel like that's something that's not really talked about because recently you just hear oh, I created an app, it's on the App Store, blah, blah, but there's no talk about, again, everybody glamorizes once they do stuff. And I think that was something that we also talked about with our last founder, which was kind of getting into the nitty gritty of getting on the shelf, but what it takes to stay on the shelf and kind of do all the things. So, I mean, when we sat down with Dara, with Sam and Leo, we were kind of talking about that. But I think that's a big thing where I guess unless you have that community or other founders to talk to about and get advice, you're kind of in the unknown,
Yeah, it's just a black box.
Is this not normal? And I think in the consumer space, since that's more of my side, but it's so crucial to really lean on other founders and understand and get their experiences because I always say everybody has a different experience. So do not compare yourself when it comes to that. But just to learn what people's experiences are. For example, with distribution, I always tell founders, always ask people what their experience was with X, Y, and Z distributor. what it takes, even if it's a different category, because you never know, but at least you're learning what it takes and the knowledge behind it. And also
Yep.
sometimes just what to expect, timeline wise, questions, how it was. I've heard amazing things about a certain distributor while other founders have had awful experiences. So, I mean, it goes both ways, but I think just having that community to lean on gives you night and day perspective.
I could not agree more. I think I told you I have a friend that we do like monthly meetings
Yeah,
just to
I think
catch
it's
up.
so smart.
Yeah, it's been great because we're both, I mean, she's more technical than I am, but like I would say we both consider ourselves non-technical founders building within the tech space. And it's not
Yeah.
like we're like building algorithms or anything like that, but we are still building within the consumer tech space. And we just one day got on a call and we were like just nonstop venting of like, and it was when I was talking about the App Store and she was telling me about other things. And we were like, no one tells us the answers. And we go to so many events that are tech focused, but then you
Hmm.
have a lot of technical founders and they're just like, they don't understand what the non-technical founders don't understand. And so it's like this miscommunication. And so we were like, we wish that there was just a community where there was mostly non-technical female founders that we could just bitch to each other essentially. And
I love
so
it.
we decided to create the community and it's called, we do once a month meetings and it's just called Bitch and Build. And we were like, well, we don't want to just have it where we're venting. Like that's not really, it's not productive. That might feel good and feel therapeutic in the moment, but that's not really productive to what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, how do we bitch about it and then help each other build? Like vent about whatever your problem is and then ask people, hey, has anyone else had this experience? This is what I'm struggling with. And the first time that we did it, it was incredible. Like we've only done 2 sessions. And the first time it was just like very new. No one really knew, how to do the process of going through it.
Yeah.
But it was great. We all just took turns being like, this is what I'm bitching about. This is my problem right now. Has anyone experienced anything like this? Or does anyone know who to connect me with? Because
I love
it can just be you and I are both a part of multiple WhatsApp communities.
it. Yeah.
And it can just get overwhelming and it's really hard to keep track of who's asking what and who needs help and who's doing whatever it is. That we were like, if we just have these intimate groups and we decide who we want to invite, who makes sense to be part of the
Yeah.
conversation, then it allows us to actually get to the nitty gritty and feel that we can lean on each other in this community.
No, I love that. I also think that sometimes it's better to hop on a call and talk it through because I feel like in certain groups, yeah, they're great, they're supportive, but the questions that are asked could be interpreted in a different way versus like hopping on a Zoom being like, hey, this is what I'm going through. Like, would you guys mind if I show you?
Yeah,
Or things like that. I feel like it's a lot more productive too. And again, it goes back to like some of these founders could experience it down the line. So why not learn right now and kind of see what it takes? Or somebody could be just building, but have gone through that in the past or have seen things where it could be beneficial for the rest of the people?
totally, totally. And so I think that's why it's important to be part of the communities that we are a part of.
Yeah, and ask questions. I
Mhm.
think that's like a powerful thing. And I think it goes to say, like, one, give yourself grace as you're building, kind of take moments for yourself and fuel yourself. Like, for example, yesterday there was like a random block party, right? So I needed a break of what I was doing. So I went to this block party and I was like, I need to be outside. I need a moment. I ended up getting a couple work calls that came in. I just went around the corner and went on a walk and took them. And I was like, this is so nice because I'm doing what I
Yeah,
need to be doing, but at the same time, like I'm
enjoying your
outside
life.
breathing fresh air. Granted, the weather's been getting better, which is so nice because when it was cold, whew, that was crazy. And then two, don't be afraid of getting involved with different communities. I think one big thing where I was talking to a founder about, she's not based in New York, is how difficult it is sometimes in different areas to find community and kind of feel really involved, but at the same time there are so many amazing like virtual communities that people can be part of. I think it's just a matter of asking one person and then having that domino effect kind of hit to see where they're involved in, who they're involved in, what they've seen like the most beneficial to them, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, well, and also you just never know what it's going to lead to. For example, I want to connect you to my friend now that I was talking to yesterday
Oh,
because both of you had similar ideas of how founders can be helping each other, which I'm not going to spoil it yet. You guys will see. We'll tell you about it when the time comes. But that's a great example of like, you guys don't know each other at all. She was in LA. Now she's Canadian. She's back in Canada. And so you're in New York, Miami, Virginia, and it's like you probably would not cross paths. But because she was telling me what she is working on the side, and we've had the same discussion, she was like, hey, if you're interested, and I was like, I don't have the bandwidth, but I know someone who is building something similar and you guys should join forces or like just talk about it. And that doesn't happen unless you're going out of your way to network and like doing the uncomfortable part to talk to new people. And because it is uncomfortable at first, right? But like it's important because you don't know how it can help you, but also helping other people because it can always come back.
No, I also think that this is like an important note. I didn't even mention this, but like for Two Fit, we were distributed nationwide with Lifetime. Everybody that knows me knows I've been obsessed with Lifetime since I've been in high school. My first ever job was at a Lifetime. I got asked to prom at Lifetime.
At Lifetime? Wait, how did they ask you to prom at Lifetime?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever told this story.
Wait, also, that could not be more of like blurred lines. Like literally work and life combining is being asked to prom at your job.
I like, okay, so I'll like share the story really quick, but I would go to Lifetime every day, basically. I was with my Zumba girls all the time, you know, all the Zumba
Oh, we
moms.
know the
And
Zumba girls.
I love Zumba. And one of my friends was trying to figure out how this guy could ask me to prom. And I was like, I joked and I was like, well, I'm always at Lifetime. And so I went to the gym one day and he was at the front desk, like with the sign, like it would mean a lifetime if I took you to prom.
Wait, that's so good. It would mean a lifetime. That's so good.
And so that was the story. I went to prom with him. And then, yeah, so that, and then Lifetime was our largest distributor and our first ever large retailer when it came to Two Fit. So, yeah, that's a whole thing. But now that like Two Fit's on pause with the product, I've been keeping them up to date, obviously.
Yeah.
You always want to cultivate relationships and like
Totally. No matter
that's the
what.
art of transparency, just communicating what's been going on. So I hopped on a call with them because I was like, I want to catch up with them. I know so many amazing founders that could be a great product for them. So I had a really good call and the team was like, oh my God, we're so grateful that you're even thinking of this. And I was like, no, I think it would be like a win-win for some of the brands that I know. And now that I know operationally how you guys operate and what the expectations are, it gives me a better perspective for those founders to know when it would be a good time for them. And even if they're a fit, you know. And so yeah, so I've been kind of
Facilitating
talking to them about like partnerships and just like figuring out what would make sense on both parties. So I've been talking to a couple brands to see, obviously getting initial conversations to figure out what would make sense. But I was like,
Awesome.
okay, I had this amazing opportunity. I love Lifetime. I know all these amazing brands and founders that have what it takes. Like, why not kind of like open up my network in a way where it makes sense, obviously?
Yeah.
And also just it's a win-win for everybody. So
Totally.
that was something I've been like strategizing on with some of the strategies I've been working on the last week or two.
Yeah, I think that makes so much sense, especially for you now, where like you're so good at the partnerships. And for anyone that's been listening to our podcast, you know that Nat will never pass up on an opportunity to mention any of her favorite brands or her friends' brands. Like she is always working the room for multiple people, no matter if she's like at an airport lounge, if she's at a bar, she literally is working the room for her friends and her brand.
And I'll like pitch a brand.
No, you're literally pitching Dose.
So
At Dose all the time. You're literally pitching Dose 24/7. You're like, oh, you don't have Dose? Wow, you guys are really out of it.
no, we're not in Miami whatsoever. And every time I'm in Miami, I'm like, do you guys carry Dose?
Wait, that also just really briefly reminds me, I was listening to Giggly Squad this morning,
Love
and
that.
they were both in Miami for F1. And Paige has been down here for a few months. And I'm like, girl, where have you been? Why are we not hanging out?
Let's
Ugh.
brainstorm partnerships with Daphne. I know a couple people.
Wait, actually, that'd be sick. Yeah,
I don't know.
I actually think that makes
Food
so
for thought.
much sense. Man, what if Vane was to partner with Daphne? Because it's all
They're
about
both-
lounge. It's like loungewear and like being comfy.
Yeah.
Be like it's Vane is what you do as you're being comfy in bed. It's a self-care
love-
day. Do a self-care day with Daphne and Vane.
Oh my God.
Paige, just wait, just wait.
You're
just wait.
listening.
If you're listening, we love you. We've mentioned you so many times on this damn podcast. Anywho, I went to coffee with my friend the other day. And for example, like I told her I was consulting on the side, and she was like, oh, I have so many people to introduce you to. And because she was consulting on the side as well, like she just had a baby. So she's been going back and forth and figuring out her next moves. But she like connected me with someone, and I'm like, yeah. And then I connected her with Annie from Dream Ventures
Love it.
because I didn't realize that she invests. She's an angel investor. And so she was telling me, she was like, oh, do you know Bridge Club? And she was like, it's a Wake founder. And I was like, no, I know Ruffin. Like went to college together, like whatever, blah, blah. And she was like, yeah, like I've seen a lot of really good deals come through Bridge Club. And I was like, hold on, if you're interested in really good deals with like female founders, yes, do Bridge Club, but you should also be interested in Dream Ventures.
Yeah,
And I
well,
was like,
that's what Kelly and Annie are building with Halo.
exactly. So that's what I was telling her about. And I was like, and so I texted Annie. I was like, hey, is it okay if I connect you to my friend? She's like, please do. I was like, beautiful.
They have some amazing SPVs right now too.
That's what I literally was telling my friend. I was like, have you heard of this brand? Have you heard of this brand? Have you? And she was like, yeah. I was like, they're managing all their SPVs. And she was like, wait, I need in on these. I was like, I know. You're
Yeah.
welcome. So that's what I'm saying. It was with my friend that we both went to. We're both from Miami, both went to college together. We both worked at Anheuser-Busch. And so it's like, she's just a friend of mine. And we were like, oh my God, we haven't seen each other in so long. Let's catch up. She got married and had a whole baby. Like, it's been a bit. And I
Yeah.
was just excited to see her. And then you have all these other things that happen. So you just
No,
never
agreed.
know.
I also think that when somebody is only trying to connect with somebody for their own good,
Yeah.
that's an issue. I hate that. It's like, let's just get to know each other, figure out what's going on. If there's something I can help with and vice versa, then it's more organic when you're just genuinely like wanting to be there and be present and
Yeah.
understand versus like people that are very calculated when it comes to things like that. That pisses me off.
I agree. I agree. And well, and the thing is that you can tell.
You can so tell. Like,
It's so easy. I know someone off the top of my head that I'm like, I know that you only show up to events and you're in and out because you're just selling. The entire time you're just selling, like you're not actually trying to understand
and
me.
it's not genuine.
It's not genuine. And I'm just not interested. Not interested in this. But
And the
I
truth
always,
comes out at the end too. So it's like you might as well just and I'm not saying to not ask because I feel like
always ask.
always ask, but I feel like it goes back to etiquette too. There's ways that you can ask and show up for yourself, which I think
Yeah.
that's a big thing too that we could get into a whole
I
nother
know.
time
Yeah.
about like founder etiquette and all this stuff. But I think that's just important. And the best things are when you least expect it. And at the same time, it's like that coffee chat. You wouldn't have been able to know all this if you guys weren't having a good conversation. If you went in it
Right.
being like, I need this, this, and this from her,
Yeah.
you
No.
probably wouldn't have got any of that because you would have been so focused on conversations that wouldn't have opened other doors.
Totally. Well, and it's just like, again, this person, it's just so clear of what they're doing. And even when I'm trying to get something from someone else, where there's obviously a reason why I want to talk to them and like I'm thinking of this, I always am like, what can I do for you? What can
Yeah.
I help you with? And I've had other interactions where someone's asked me for a favor and they're like, what can what can I do for you? I'll do this, XYZ. And I'm like, hey, also, like, it doesn't need to be transactional.
Yeah.
We're friends. Let me help you. What's the favor? Beautiful. I'm more than happy to do it. I know that if I need something down the road, you'll help me too because we're friends. You know what I mean? Like, you've built the relationship past just the transaction.
Yeah.
And that to me means 10 times more than just knowing people. My interns make fun of me so much. And I'm like, you guys should meet my friend Nat because she knows 10 times more people than I do. Because they're always like, Vanessa, you know all these random people. Like during the Olympics, we were trying to do things with athletes and Olympians. I was like, oh, I know an Olympian. They were like, why do you randomly know these people? And I'm like, because it's just, you become friends with people. And when you're friendly, people want to talk to you and they want to help you out. And it's genuine. It's not this transactional fake, give me, I get you, like it happens more organic.
Also, you get to know the person a lot better.
Totally.
I always say I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but at the same time, like I would rather get to know somebody and them get to know me for who I am and I show up as my authentic self
Yes.
everywhere I go instead of being I only need to go here because I know this person's going to be there and that. Like, no, like it doesn't work that way. And I think that's something that we all kind of need to work on as a society.
Yes.
But I
As
think
a
in the-
society, as a community.
yeah, as a community started because
All of
it's
it.
just, you really never know who somebody is. And I also say like you also don't know what somebody's going through.
Totally.
Never like assume.
Yeah, no, I could not agree more. Anywho, love. Could not agree more. And I'm like, and amazing. It's so funny. I'm like, this is a great spot for an ad. It's like, and don't you love, again, just me listening to Giggly Squad. We're like, I'm really into it. And then they just go, and so today we're having our Dunkin' refreshers.
Oh, stop.
I'm like, Dunkin', sponsor us, give us refreshers. We'll talk about them.
I know. There's so many other brands that we could just slide. Diet Coke. Oh my gosh, that would be a
Oh my God, you love a Diet Coke. Okay, Coke, anyone from Coke, if you're listening to this.
I love a Diet Coke. And I can tell the difference.
100%. Between normal and diet?
Diet Coke,
Yes.
canned Diet Coke, and a bottled Diet Coke.
Yeah, I was about to
Do
say the
not.
Mexican Coke is amazing. Also, though, I can tell the difference. Like, it happened to me the other day. I went to Pollo Tropical the
I
other
love it.
day. Love, except their Coke was so bad. And then
Oh,
my mom and I both were like, it's not a McDonald's Coke.
no,
It's
McDonald's
not a
is
McDonald's Coke.
electric. The McDonald's Diet Coke is electric.
It's
You
so
know
good.
what? In California, they have El Pollo Loco,
Yeah.
but I think Pollo Tropical is superior.
Oh, yeah, by far.
They have plantains. They have fried plantains, and I will die on the grave. I'm obsessed with fried plantains.
Aren't we
And
all?
for a fast food restaurant to have fried plantains,
To me, I don't even consider, I'm like, yes, technically it's fast food, but it's like good. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I don't know, I don't feel like it's all just like horrible food. I'm like, it's rice, beans, you get your protein,
you
your
get
choice of
chicken.
protein between like lechon or chicken or meat, like whatever you want. I'm like, I'm sorry. Last time I checked the food pyramid, that covers all of our bases. And then you have your carbs. I'm like, well, is yuca
I
a
love
carb?
salad.
Well, you could also have a salad, whatever. I never get the salads. But like, I'm like, I don't count that. There's no greens. I'm not talking about any of the greens. But like, is
Oh,
yuca
yeah.
a carb? A
I
complex carb?
should know this
I think
answer.
so. We're gonna categorize it as that.
I think it is.
A starch, if you will.
Yeah, it's a starch.
To starch. So I'm like, okay, you have everything. Even though it's fried, their fried yuca. I will say I'm very upset. They took away the fried yuca cheesy balls. It was fried yuca balls with cheese in the middle.
Oh, stop it. I'm hungry now.
Incredible, incredible, incredible. So they took it away, and my mom and I are very upset about it. Anyway, Pollo Tropical also sponsor us. I'm like, we're just naming everyone our favorite brands, and we're like, just sponsor, sponsor,
Why?
sponsor. Anyway, I mean, for all you know, we want to talk to the person that started Pollo Tropical, and they can
That
tell
would be
us.
a fun one.
That would be a fun one. It actually
Yeah.
would be a fun one. I was about to say Coke, and I was like, no, I don't think they're alive anymore. Um, but the family, maybe.
If you're listening, we can
Or if
put
they
you
have a
in
family
our
office.
file.
That come on to Founder Files. Maybe they have a family office, and then you can have a whole conversation about family offices.
It'd be so interesting.
It'd be fascinating. So, if anyone works for Coke, let us know. We're manifesting here. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk about dating, and we don't need to ask you about dating.
Okay. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
Guys, we learned our lesson that everything lives on the internet forever, and you never know who's listening. So, maybe don't believe everything you listen to, or maybe just ask questions before
Yeah,
assuming.
let's ask questions. Let's have
Let's ask
conversations.
questions. Exactly. Let's have conversations. Let's ask questions. Okay, let's see. I went on a date last night.
You did. How was it? Tell me.
Wasn't the worst, wasn't the best.
Okay.
It was just neutral. Nice
Okay.
guy.
Just
Nothing
like
against him.
vanilla.
Just vanilla. I don't know. I like to think that I'm a good time. I'm sure everyone likes to think that they are a good time. But I like a little bit more
Where did
energy.
you go?
So we went to the PAM, the Perez Art Museum, which
You
this
love
is
an
now
art museum.
okay. This is now the third guy that has taken me to an art museum on our first date.
Love the art museums. You
Okay.
are art, Vanessa.
Oh my God, as one of the boys said, I am art. I do love art museums. It's a little much. I will say there was a new exhibit though. So there was an exhibit now with like Formula One and the World Cup coming up and like everything happening. There was an entire sports exhibit,
Oh,
which
I love
sounds
that.
really bad, but it was all art rooted in
No,
sports. It
no,
was really
I'm
cool.
obsessed with that.
It was really, really cool. The guy and I were both like, we're pleasantly surprised. I will say he's a member at the PAM, so he could get us in for free. Where I was like, it reminds me of, oh my God, what's his face? Letter Boy, Love Letter Boy. Is that what we called it?
Yes. Letter boy.
Letter Boy, where he had me get a library card so we could go ice skating for free.
Man, these men just looping through things.
It's so funny because the way he sold it to me, I was like, oh my God, I love that. Like, we're gonna go get a library card like in New
You're like
York.
so wholesome.
So wholesome, so cultured. And then I was telling one of my girlfriends, and she was like, hold on, let me get this straight. He had you get a library card to make it cheaper for himself. And I go, now that you say that. And of course, I'm like, but we love a man who likes a deal.
Yeah. And then now you have a library card thanks
And
to
now I have a
him.
library card. I mean, I misplaced it, but now I have a library card.
You're gonna miss this one.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But anyway, we went to the art museum again, which was lovely. But I will say the first time, the first date that I went on there was a little bit better planned than this guy. But I also knew that guy from high school, so it was a little bit different. But anyway, we like both drove separately because we don't get into cars with strangers. And then we walked the museum, which was lovely. We only did that for like about an hour. I will say he didn't like looking at the art as much as I do. Like I like talking about the art,
Me too.
which we did that a little bit, but he was like really trying to talk to me, which is that's the hard part about
Mhm.
museums as first dates is like you have to make a decision. Either you want to get to know me or you want to get to know the art.
Yeah, but I also think that it's like then pick maybe go to get drinks or to get coffee or to go to dinner. So then you can actually talk to the person. I feel like when you involve an activity, the other person's going to want to do the activity.
The activity should really be like a second date, or it should be like, okay, let's get drinks and then go to the museum. So you do all the talking about each other first, and then you can
Yeah.
pay attention to the art. Because I was like, I'm the kind of girl, I like the audio guides, I like to read all the plaques, like I like to like I saw the exhibit, I don't think I like really took it in, you know? I will say a lot of the things that I liked, he did not like, and a lot of the things that he liked, I did not like. I was just like, that looks dumb, but okay. So we're very
Was it
different
less for like talking about what you liked and what you didn't like?
about art, I mean.
Wait,
Like the
okay.
art, like the
No, but I'm saying like I feel like that. Yeah, no, but I feel like that to me, if that'd be perfect to kind of get to know the person.
right, right, totally,
You
totally.
know?
But you know what? It was funny because he was like, "Oh, I'm not like a sceney person," because I mentioned of like, "Oh, we're looking at apartments in different places." And I was like, "We're looking at Mid Beach." He's like, "What's Mid Beach?" And I was like, and he was like, "There's all these new names." And in my head I was like, "Mid Beach has always been Mid Beach, but like that's okay. I'm not going to be rude." I was
Was
like,
he
as someone
born and
who's
raised Miami?
not born, he moved here when he was 17. So I'm like,
Okay, but he's been there long enough.
he's been for like 20 years. So I'm like,
Okay.
you should know that Mid Beach has always been Mid Beach, just FYI.
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. But when he said, he goes, I was like, oh, we were looking at Mid Beach and my friend is a member at Soho House, so we could go to Soho House. And he's like, oh, like, I don't go to those places. And I go, okay. And he's like, I don't really like sceney places like that where everyone feels like they need to be seen. And he's like, I like to do just my own thing. And I was like, God, this is giving like very emo high school that it's like I'm just different and it's like you're not different at all, you're just like every other guy, but you
Yeah,
like
no,
to
that
think
would
that
give
you're
me the ick.
different.
'Cause it's like get to know the person before judging why they're a member.
Literally like in
Or
my
like
head I
why
was like,
you go to specific places, you know?
right, I was like, okay, so you've never been? He's like, I mean, I've been, like I'm not gonna not go if I'm invited, but like I just don't go out of my way to go there. And I was like, okay. And in my head I was like, you're not cool, dude. Like this doesn't make you cool because you don't go there. It makes you just seem like you don't have friends that are members. Like is that your reason? And then that's why. Like anyway. Anywho. And then we went to dinner and but we were driving separately. So then it was kind of weird of like following him in the car and then he parked, didn't even like I don't know. To me, the gentlemanly thing to have done was he found a parking space and saved it for me, but he didn't. He just went
Yeah.
and like, didn't even call me of like, hey, I'm gonna grab this spot. You should grab this other spot. Or like try to find a place with two parking spots. Or like, hey, why don't we find you a spot first and then you
Was,
can get in my car and we'll
was the
like find
dinner far from the museum?
it wasn't that far. No, it was like a 5 minute drive.
Okay.
So it was just like awkward because it was downtown. So there's also areas that you don't want to, as a woman. I was like, I'm not going to park over here and walk by myself back over here. And so I just valeted my car. I was like, and so he literally was able to park his car, walk to the restaurant, and I was still in circles looking for a parking space. And I was like, this is so not a vibe. And then I was just like, I'm just going to valet. Planning is not his strong suit. Definitely not. And so
Noted.
I just valeted. He waited for me as I valeted. That's the least he could do. And then dinner was lovely. We got into some interesting topics, I will say. That like the date was not like fun. It was just like conversation, if that makes sense.
What are some takeaways that you have? Like
That's a really good question.
aligned, aligned with what you're looking for.
Okay, okay, okay. Great. Seems pretty stable in his career.
Okay. Does he seem ambitious though?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes. He's family oriented, very family oriented, and very like
We love
community
that.
friendship oriented. We talked a lot about that,
Perfect.
which he's from Argentina. So we were talking about the differences of like the community and like focus on community and friendships in Argentina versus like in the US, which I
Mhm.
agree. I think in Miami I grew up with a lot of family friends, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Like you grow up with so many family friends and you
Mhm.
treat them like family, where I find that you don't see that in every culture. So I really like that. What I didn't like is the very much of like, I don't do these things because they're sceney. Like, I don't like when people get negative on or like bash on other things. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you don't know me enough to bash on it, you know?
100%. Okay, so like a little bit of the judgment side, but that
Yeah,
insecurities. Okay,
right.
good.
Totally, totally. And those were like, I would say like the main things. And just like energy level was really low. And I've realized that like I've dated a few guys where I think that, oh, it might be a good contrast to my high energy, but it doesn't feel that way at the end of it. I feel just kind of like
Yeah,
drained versus like energized.
100.
And like bouncing off of each other. And so, like, I don't think I need someone as high energy as myself, but I do need someone who can keep up
No, I
versus,
feel the same way when
you
it
know what I'm
comes to
saying?
but I think this is
So,
good reflection because
totally.
we're also thinking about like, okay, what has worked in the past and what hasn't, and like what
Yeah,
do I want moving forward?
totally, totally. And so I was like, okay, also, I think maybe I can't date that much older. Like, when you're
Okay.
talking to me about your cholesterol pills,
Yeah, okay. And that's always going to be there.
and that's always going to be there.
Yeah, so those are points.
Where I
Okay,
was
so
like,
this
well,
man's is
it's interesting. I was just like, oh, I didn't think that it was that much older. And now I'm like, oh, I think I hit my threshold where I was like, I don't think I can date this much older.
yeah, but at the same time, you have to experience it to kind of
Totally.
gauge because if not, you wouldn't have
Totally.
known, you
Totally.
know?
Totally. Oh, yeah, that was interesting. And then this is not important of him as a person, but was just more of like we were gonna share a steak and a pasta. And
Okay.
then he was very nice. He was like, oh, how do you usually like your steak made? And I was like, oh, like medium rare. And he goes, oh, I think we should get different ones. And I was like, why? He's like, I like my medium. No, he likes his well done. Like, wait, you wonder what I also asked? I also was like, he told me he travels a lot. And I was like, well, do you have clear and pre-check? And he was like, well, I have pre-check, obviously, but it's all the other thing. And in my head, I was like, so you don't have clear, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I'm like, so what I'm listening to is you don't have touchless ID. And like, I've been using clear so much recently where I skip the
Yeah.
entire line and they just scan my face and I just go
Hmm.
through and I'm like, beautiful, bye.
Hey,
So,
these are all
yeah,
good questions that we're
yeah.
learning.
We're learning. So yeah, there were some interesting things. I think just like not a compatible match, but
Okay.
we learned that and that's totally fine and we move forward.
Yeah, I think this is great. I think it's good to always have like a little reflection.
Yeah. So that's my dating life. Nothing too crazy. And we know where yours is. So
Non-existent. Yeah,
anywho, I feel good.
yeah.
And I'm excited for this upcoming week. I think my weekend's gonna be pretty chill. And then I'll be back in New York and we can film in New York together.
Thank God.
Well, that's if you don't leave me. You might leave.
I don't know. If I leave for one day.
Oh, okay. And then you'll be back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Perfect.
no, we're good. No, I'm excited. I think this weekend should be a good weekend. I don't really have that much planned, which I'm actually very excited about.
That's gonna be nice.
Yeah, and then next week, I have a couple different things. So yeah, but honestly, just day by day
Amazing.
and getting shit done.
Love. Awesome. Well, then with that, guys, we'll see you next week.
Make sure to share, follow, subscribe, and
Share, follow, subscribe.
share with a couple friends. Throw it in
Yeah.
the friend group, the friend chat.
Make
Put
us
it in the family
viral. Yeah. Put it in the family chat. Make us viral in your group chat. We always love it. All right. Well, bye, guys.